2, 1. Let's go. Welcome to the Fiction Addiction Podcast, a podcast where we go one-on-one with fiction creators, such as authors, filmmakers, actors, songwriters, and more. Each episode, we get the inside scoop on our guests' creative process, the ups and downs of their industries, and our guests also give out tips and tricks that help them become successful. And now, let's jump into the episode with your host, Chris C.L. Lowry.
All right. Welcome back to the Fiction Addiction Podcast. This is a very special episode because we have two guests on today. Our first guest needs no introduction because she is our favorite UK author and the guest from episode 7, Kim Knight. But our second guest is an intuitive soul. Her thirst to write was developed at an early age and she never looked back. After digging deep and getting in touch with her literary self, she's written mystery thrillers like The Search For Maylee, Justice for Belle, Aggravated Momentum, The Stix, and more, along with a 6-piece short story collection called The Time Wasters. She's also collaborated with Kim Knight in an ongoing interactive short story anthology, The Suspenseful Collection. When our guest doesn't have her nose buried in a book, she can be found enjoying a laid-back outdoorsy lifestyle. Time spent sleeping under the stars, hiking, fishing, and ATVing the back roads of beautiful mountain trails, and sunbathing in the desert heat play an important part of her day-to-day lifestyle. Ladies and gentlemen, Didi Oviatt and Kim Knight, what is going on?
Ooh, hey, hello.
So glad to be here.
We're so happy to have you both. It's exciting. But first and foremost, we'll start off, obviously, the COVID-19 coronavirus. This virus has created a global pandemic and all of our worlds have been just turned upside down. So what has been the impact on the pandemic when it comes to you guys, your lives?
Oh, you want to go first?
Gosh, okay, how hasn't it impacted me? Gosh, that's the question. For me personally, it's done everything. My son's been off school since mid-March, been homeschooling. I work from home anyway, but it's been difficult to obviously manage that with him home. So it's like my job has been turned the other way around and working in the evening. It's just been crazy, not really been able to see friends, family. It's been pretty big for me. It's been pretty big and everything's just been in complete lockdown. You know, this whole social distancing thing is just serious now. It's just very different. I wouldn't say it's difficult. For me, I'd say it's just adjusting, if I'm honest, adjusting to this big difference of doing things. And I feel like every time I go to the supermarket, I'm risking my life just for like orange juice and snacks and stuff. It's just crazy. But touch wood, none of my family and friends have been touched by it. Neither have I. So I can only be thankful for that. Exactly. I can only be thankful for that. You know, it's been hard, you know, being stuck in the house, but it's for the best, I think, me personally.
Yes, I have to remind myself all the time, like, we're so blessed that it hasn't touched my family and friends either. Because it is hard. Honestly, it is kicking my ass. It is hard. I am not going to lie. It is so hard. But we're hanging in there. I have a 7-year-old who is high-functioning autistic. And so the social life for him in school is such a big deal. He needs it. He needs it so much. So to be pulling him out of that when he, you know, that's the area that he struggles the most in is his social skills. Pulling him out of that and trying to provide him with what he needs just by myself has been the biggest struggle personally. I mean, it really is hard. It's hard to do schoolwork with him, and it's hard to, you know, do all the extra things that he needs virtually when he struggles doing things virtually. So it's definitely been impactful. It impacts every area of your life. I mean, you don't have time. that you think you do. You think being home with your children, you have all the time in the world, but really, they suck the life.
You don't.
Yes. And you just love them to death, but it is hard.
I was going to say to you, Didi, today my son had a Zoom meeting with his classmates. I don't know if there's something that your son's school might even think about, because if your boy needs that social interaction, they got all the class like on Zoom, like virtually, and he could see like his mates, and they were like kissing the screen and everything. I was like, thank God they're not kissing each other, but they were so maybe talk to your son's school, because your son is the same, like he's a year older than my son, so I understand that whole social thing. Yeah.
Yes, we use Zoom and we use Google Meets, and he gets to see all of their little faces. But he's funny with virtual thing. Like he's so distracted with the computer and with the camera, and he's he wants to focus on something else. And when he goes to talk, he mumbles and won't talk to them. So it's just so different. Like he's funny about, you have to make eye contact to know that, so that he knows he can hear you, or else he'll ignore you on purpose because he thinks he can get away with it. So not having that person-to-person eye contact is really hard for him. So we're getting there though. He's not behind on his actual work. So I think that it's a plus. Maybe in some ways that'll be a blessing because we can catch him up in other areas.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
Now, how has it been maintaining the routine for him? Because obviously, with the autism, you try to keep that pattern consistent. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're familiar with. So how has it been with his routine?
Do you personally have anybody in your life that's autistic to know that kind of
yeah.
You do. Okay, so routine is a huge deal. It is such a big deal with him. We have to get our must-have dones, is what I call it, all the things that we absolutely have to do every day. We have to do them right off the bat, as soon as we wake up, and get them done one thing after another, whether he wants to or not. Because if not, as soon as he starts, watching TV or playing with his very, very demanding little 5-year-old sister, once he starts doing those things, there's no return. It's like the point of no return. My daughter just, she just goes and goes and goes and goes, which is probably really good for him. He needs that. But on the other hand, it's overwhelming. So with our routine, we have got to get our must-haves done by like 10 in the morning, or we are screwed for the whole day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So routine's huge. Definitely a big deal.
Now, what has been one of the most surprising things for both of you guys that has come from the pandemic? I know social media has been tremendous in terms of celebrities like connecting, doing those lives. A lot of people are using Zoom. So what if one of the positive things that has come from the pandemic that you've seen?
You know what? I try and read more articles than watch different social media things. And I absolutely refuse to turn on the news. I refuse. I don't want to watch the news.
You don't want to go to the panic.
To listen to it. Yes. Right. I don't want them to hear it. I just avoid that. But I try and read, I read the New York Times article every couple days, or I see what you see on social media, but that's kind of hit and miss. So the most positive thing I can think of is just the earth as a whole is healing itself. And that is amazing. That is so beautiful. That is such an awesome thing. There is, air is clearing everywhere. Lakes and rivers are clearing and not being as polluted. I mean, the earth is doing amazing. And I think that is so cool. That's exactly what we needed for humanity right now. I think that is really, really awesome that that's happening.
It's also scary that to see actually what we've been doing. You know what I mean? Like, wow.
I mean, after a couple months, we've been able to heal so many things in the world. What would happen if it was a year,
Right.
Or why did it take us this long to pull our shit together?
Exactly. How about you, Kim?
I've been the complete opposite to Didi. I must admit, I've been sat in my living room keeping up with what's going on in every corner of the world, right from my sofa on the news. Like, I've been glued to it. It's been on the TV, on the radio. So I probably should stop doing it because, you know, it does make you quite scared. But I think the most positive thing for me that I've seen is the celebrities that have come together and the celebrities that have done things, or people that have made large donations. At least it shows that some people who are in a position of influence, they want to get involved, they want to help. Like, I know Rihanna's done a lot, Pink's done a lot. And that's the only real thing I can think of, is that some people who have money have tried, you know, they are trying to give.
That is so awesome.
Or,
it really is.
You know, protective equipment, or whatever it is that's needed in some parts of the world that don't have it. Like here, like in the UK, we ran out of them. We ran out of the masks and whatever for the health workers. And I remember in New York, they didn't have anything, and Rihanna gave the money to New York. So that's the main thing I can think of, if I'm honest. It's just that some people have shown a humane side to them, some people that are quite powerful, and that's probably about it, really, because if I'm honest, there's not anything positive about this at all, but that's the only positive thing I can think of with this virus. Some people have given back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's because this is something that affects everybody. You know what I mean? All over the world. It's not something you're watching like, oh, it's just here. It's everywhere. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you grow up at. It can hit you. You know what I mean? I think that's the most scariest part for everybody. So, but it's also the most humbling part of it.
Yeah. But I must say, though, even though there's been a handful of celebrities that have given money and donations and tried to help, I would have thought that more would have done it. I would have hoped that more would have done it, especially like me being British myself. Like, I think these footballers and sports players that get paid so much per week just for like kicking a ball around, why are they not putting their hands in their pocket? I probably might get myself in trouble for saying that, but that's my personal thought, you know. But I would have hoped that more people would have, you know, reached out, especially when there's quite a few places that have been without resources in the world. But there you go. That's just my personal
You know what's
opinion.
funny is my husband and I had this exact conversation like yesterday. Of all of these people, you'd think more would donate. And we were talking about, you know, if we were multimillionaires, how much would we give? Like, that's the first thing you ask yourself. What can you give, no matter what position?
What can you do? Yeah.
It is surprising. There should be a little bit more.
I mean, here we've had lots of people who have started to make, like I heard one woman on the news about, she was starting to make protective equipment like masks and stuff for the doctors and nurses. And she was just a normal woman, you know, who knew how she could use a sewing machine. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, when I watched it, I thought, well, how many celebrities or how many people have the money who can actually help, you know, and give the money so that we can find these things that we need, simple things like masks or whatever it is that they needed. But there you go. If I had the money, I'd do it.
Homemade masks at his job.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep. We haven't been able to get any, and he's essential. He's Yep. So he works in a production company. They produce like big pipes for gas companies and power companies. He kind of oversees pipe production, but he's had to wear a mask for a couple weeks, and they just barely was able to get paper masks because of the demand like this week. Yeah. So he's had to wear cloth masks for weeks, and it is rough on him. He had to shave and everything.
I was about to ask that.
Yes, I'm serious. We've been married. We've been together for 11 years, and I have yet to see his chin until last week. So literally everything changes. Everything.
Gosh. Yeah. It is crazy.
Now, how are you two staying creative during the quarantine?
You know, I don't think that aspect has changed for me. That's just one of those things that come natural. You just have thoughts all the time. And if you don't get them out, they pile up until you do. Just write when you can.
Yeah, I'd probably echo what Didi said. I haven't changed. It's to be fair, the quarantine or lockdown, whatever you want to call it, I'd call it lockdown, obviously, here, it's helped me to probably compile my ideas and actually get things organized. Like I rejigged an idea that I had from a long time ago, and I've managed to make progress with it, get a cover done and all this kind of stuff. So I think that it's helped a little bit having that time to just sit around and do not much. It's pushed me to actually get up and, okay, let's sit down, let's write, let's do something, because there's nothing else to do. So you might as well, rather than, not having much time for it. So it's helped me in that sense. Like, as Didi said, you've always got ideas, you're always creative, but for me, I've had a little bit more time, maybe. And plus, for me, on average, I'm going to bed now about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy. Everything's backwards. Like, I don't know about you guys, but because I know I'm not having to go anywhere in the morning. Like, I'm not getting up. I'm not going to bed at a decent time. So while it's all quiet,
oh my
and
God,
the house is quiet,
my kids are up at
5:30
every day.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
If I stayed up at night to work, I would be like a zombie. It would be pointless.
Right?
Oh damn. No, I can catch a couple hours sleep. Like if I get into bed about 3 or 4, I can catch a couple hours sleep, luckily. But my routine's just got crazy anyway. I'm just backwards, completely backwards. I'm up when I should be asleep. I'm asleep when I should be up.
Everything.
In some ways, yeah.
Yes, we really are.
In some ways. But in some ways, yeah. But opposites attract though. That's what they say, don't they?
Yes,
opposites attract.
Opposites
attract. So
we work very well together for having so many different things.
That's it. Magnets.
That's probably why it works so well.
Yeah, probably. It could be. But I think even though maybe in our life situations things might be different, we might be opposite, or I think when it comes to writing, we've proved that there's not much difference. I think that's why our work and our stories gel. So even though we might be completely, maybe a little bit different in other ways with our work, it's pretty solid, I think, personally. I know I'm biased. Yeah, the creativity is very, very similar.
I don't call it bias. I call it confidence.
Confidence. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Confidence. Yeah, I guess, yeah, confident. Yeah.
And practical. I mean, because we do mess.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Now, Didi, when did you first find out that you had a passion for writing?
I always really enjoyed writing poetry, but it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s that I decided to kind of give it a bash. I'll just give this a try. And the first book that I sat down and started writing, I just knew instantly. A couple chapters in, this is what I want to do. This is what I meant to do. This is what I love to do. It just instantly became a passion, and I never stopped. So it's funny. I struggled to start a family and to have babies. I had a lot of issues, and so at first it was kind of an outlet to kind of give me something to throw myself into and to be productive in an area that was uplifting and positive, and that kind of took my mind off of my current physical situation. And once I started, it was such a blessing for me, and it was so amazing for me that I just never stopped. I just kept at it, and I plan to forever. That's really the only plan I have in life, is to just keep writing forever.
Excellent. You will. I'll make sure you will.
Yes. Hold me accountable. I need that accountability.
You will. Yep.
Now, when did the outdoorsy lifestyle begin? Was that something you always were into since a kid, or is it recent in adulthood?
Yeah, forever. I'm a small town girl. I grew up in a little country place that is actually gorgeous. It's beautiful. I grew up in a place where you can drive 20 minutes in one direction and be on a desert, or 20 minutes in the other direction and be on top of just stunning mountain ranges. Just beautiful. And so amazing. My whole life, it is really neat. So my whole life, I spent a lot of time, when I would still have school and not do my work and get in trouble, that's where I would go. I would go, light things on fire in the mountain. That is how I got in trouble when I was a kid. So it's a little bit different, but I've always loved it. Always loved camping. Always loved, going out and jumping in a lake when it's just up the road. You sneak a beer out of the fridge and jump in the lake for fun. That's kind of how I grew up. So yeah, I've always enjoyed it. I'm very blessed to have that. I know a lot of people don't. So I enjoy
it. Now, with that type of lifestyle and those type of activities, that type of environment, how much of it plays into your writing?
It's kind of hit and miss, I think. I don't think it's impacted a whole lot. My very first book is quite a bit more outdoorsy than any of my other works. But I like a variety. I'm a weird writer like that. I don't ever stick to one subject or one area, one place.
No, that's talent. That's not weird.
Yeah.
That's talent. That's not weird. That's talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's talent.
It is different. I do enjoy writing outdoorsy scenes, and I have, plugged them into a lot of different books and different scenes, but for the most part, I don't think it's really, played a big part.
What's your writing routine?
Oh God, I don't have one. I don't think. I just write when I can find the time. That's really? The best. Yes. I mean, some days when I'm able to, when school was still in session, I had 3 days a week where both my kids were actually in school at the same time. And so that's when you just, stick to the grind and do as much as you can while you have a minute. But now that we can't do that, it's like I open my document and I'll do 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, give them a project, and you just kind of, get back to it as you can go. You just kind of got to go with the flow of the day. Be prepared to get as much done as you can in that day.
You can, right? So Didi and Kim, how did you both meet? Just for everybody, so they know.
WordPress. Let's start with WordPress.
Blogging.
We've read each other's stuff forever.
Really?
That's it, as simple as that. Yeah. WordPress is such a wonderful place. Like you can, if you start a blog on there, you can connect with so many other bloggers or so many other people. And we just connected via that, following the blog. And then Didi read my stuff, I read her stuff. And that was it. Just a mutual respect, I think, came between us. And then when we actually did speak, like outside of writing, we just gelled as people, Like when I was here last time and I spoke to you and I was talking about Didi and I was saying sometimes we get on Skype and we'll be like, right, we're going to talk about work, what we're going to do. And we'll talk about something else. And then we have to find another hour in the week to talk again because we spent that hour that we planned talking about something else. So we didn't get what we were meant to do done. We just gelled. And
you know what? I remember the first email. I remember the very first email that you sent me asking what I know. It asked what I thought about doing some sort of interactive story challenge where we kind of would write together weekly and see where it went. I remember you came up with the idea. Yes. Yeah. And I said, that sounds amazing. I would love to do that. It sounds like so much fun. And from that very first email from that day, I don't think we went more than a week or two without talking.
Wow.
Ever. There was the one year you had other projects when you were moving that we did. But other than that, we have been very consistent.
Yeah. But we're going back to probably 2016, maybe?
I think so.
17?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was the year that I published Aggravated Momentum.
Aggravated Momentum.
Yes, because I remember that's the year that came out is when I started blogging. And so, 2016. Go us. Holy shit, Kim.
Yeah.
Really got it together.
I know.
That's a whole partnership at this point.
You know? We haven't even met in person, but we've kept in contact, spoke, email, using technology. And that's it. We just become friends. We just become friends and respected each other and thought, okay, let's see where this goes. And it blew up, didn't it, Didi? Like our challenge really blew up, like on our blog. And people were really getting involved and engaged in it. It was like, okay, should we publish them? And we did. And then we did another one. And that was it. We just kept going. That was it.
Now,
Crazy,
Kim,
huh?
what was it about Didi that made you want to reach out?
Well, Didi read one of my stories first. She read a book I wrote and she did a review. And I wanted to reach out and read her work because I thought to myself, okay, she's writing in the same genre as me. Let me check this chick out. Let me see what she's about, because technically, although Didi's not a romance writer, she writes in the suspense thriller genre. So really, she's my enemy because I want to sell more books than her. But I never felt that way. I genuinely wanted to know who she was. So I read Aggravated Momentum, and I think within the first chapter, I was like, oh my God. Like, literally in my head, I was thinking to myself, I recognize this writing style so much. This chick writes like me. Where has she come from? And it was not what she wrote, it's how she wrote it. It's Didi, she knows how to write the thriller beats. She has a certain style of delivery, and I really enjoyed her work. So I reached out to her and said, I like it. What?
What do you think? Because we are we are very similar in our writing because we are emotional writers. We draw out emotion from paragraph to paragraph, if that makes sense. We focus on the emotional details rather than more the other
telling the story.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a difference between show and tell. Yeah, show and tell.
Yes.
There's a big difference. I would agree.
France is what I read. That was my review. You probably read the review I wrote on Stranger in France and thought, oh shit, yeah, this is the best review.
I did. I did. Oh my God. I was like, wow, where's this girl come from? Oh my God.
Yes,
but no, she did. Yeah. But Didi is very, very right. I've actually never really looked at it that way, but she's right. It's when I read her work, she's hit the nail on the head. It's the show and the emotion and the character development that she does so well. And she can write some creepy characters, something that I don't really do a lot of, but she writes some real creepers and she does it so well. And so I just wanted to reach out to her and just, get to know her. And the reason I think as well, I was quite shocked when I read Didi's work because I didn't expect what I got. Because, she's just pretty and she's blonde haired and brown eyed and she's from a small town. And I thought, this is going to, something nice and sweet. Okay.
I know it says a thriller.
I know. But even though it's a thriller, I wasn't expecting what I got, Chris. You need to read it. I wasn't expecting what I got. You know what I mean? I really wasn't.
People I know read my books and they ask my husband, do you sleep with your eyes open?
Right. Oh, wow.
Are you afraid to go to sleep next to that woman? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I didn't expect what I got. I've genuinely really enjoyed her work and I recognized and respected her craft because it's good. And it's good. I recognized, what she was doing. And I think it comes so naturally for her. I don't think it's something that she doesn't overwrite or force it, Yeah. It's just
funny,
there in her work.
I've had editors tell me I'm wordy.
You are, but there's a difference between being wordy and overwriting though. There's a big difference, I think. I don't think you overwrite. I don't. I think it because I think I said this in my review of one of your books, like Didi can write, you can have something like, okay, the door opened with a creak. Didi won't write it like that. She'll write it like the door creaked open slowly and the light flooded over the dirty, dank floor. Do you see what I mean? Like she will add more words in it to give you more, like that's very different than saying the door opened with a creak.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? But it enhances her work. So she won't just say the door opened with a creak. When it opened, what else happened?
Right.
You know, the sun flooded in on the floor. The floor wasn't just a normal floor, it was a dirty floor. It wasn't just a dirty floor, it was a concrete floor, a dirty concrete floor. Do you see what I mean?
There's a lot of,
and that's what I enjoy.
Concrete, nasty.
Yes, you use dank a lot.
Really,
but you use that a lot. But it's a good description though. That is how she would write it, but it doesn't mean that it's overwritten. It means that it's written well to me because I'm there. I can visualize what that dirty dank floor looks like when the sun hits it and the door goes creak.
You make me want to go write.
She's currently writing while I'm interviewing.
You know? But yeah.
That's my ideas going.
Yeah. She doesn't overwrite. She writes with emotion and she develops well, and I recognized it because that's something that I would say that I do. You know, her style of writing is good.
Now Didi,
I like it.
Hearing this, where do you see, I'm not going to use the word disconnect, but how does that make you feel knowing, like you said, editors say sometimes you're wordy, but then you have someone who is obviously a friend of yours that's honest with you and that's also a consumer of your work saying, no, that style is yours. You need to keep it. You know what I mean? So,
yes, I do. I actually love that you asked that question because so many writers really struggle with that switch.
Right.
They can't turn it on and off. I've seen so many writers that have so much potential and so much, just untapped talent ready to come out that they can't get out because of negative criticism. And I wouldn't even say, editors saying those things that are negative. It kind of depends on the editor. The way that I like to look at it and the way that I like to approach it is all criticism can help you. No matter if it's good or bad, you kind of have to wade through it and take each comment seriously, but not to heart. And you have to decide for yourself, okay, is this a comment that will help me or hurt me? Is this a comment that I can learn from, or should I just brush it off because clearly they don't know what the hell they're talking about? Like, you really have to know the difference, and you have to draw that line, and you have to go in with the attitude of, I am getting this help because it is help. I am reading this review because I can learn from it and better myself and my writing because of it. Whether I like to hear it or not, it could be something that I can improve on. If it's something that is just a horribly awful review, or if they're saying like, oh, I didn't like this and I didn't like that and this was horrible and she uses too many adjectives. I've had that in a few reviews. She uses a lot of adjectives. It's distracting.
Didi, just ignore all that. I'm telling you that from now. Just ignore all that because it's what makes your writing stand out. Honestly, to God.
Well, sometimes you read those things and you just laugh at it. You're like, why would you? No. Why does that matter? If you don't like it, don't read it. But if it's something that is helpful, then you pay attention and you fix it. It's that simple.
That's interesting.
But you don't say that. You don't.
Yeah, that's interesting. You say that because your attitude on negative reviews is positive. If that's now break that down a little bit more for obviously writers, because as you both know, some reviews can really discourage some writers and force them into a place where they are unsure of themselves and unsure of their talent. So how do you stay positive even getting bad reviews and keeping that momentum going for yourself as a writer?
There's one figure of speech that I really, really like to kind of puts it in perspective, that not everybody likes cake. Not everybody likes pizza. Every single person has a different opinion. They have a different view, a different outlet. And I could read a book that I thought was amazing, fantastic, the best book I've ever read. And then you can pull up Amazon, find a 2-star review that just bashes on this book that you love.
Yeah.
Right.
So no matter what, you're going to have different opinions and different views. What matters is how you perceive them. So you can't let yourself feel bad over a shitty review. You can't, or you're not cut out to be a writer. That pretty much just says it all. If you can't handle it, you're not cut out to be a writer. I mean, that sounds rude, but you have to be able to, tell the difference and wade through. And a lot of people, you have to know, a lot of people write crappy reviews on purpose because it gets them visibility. Yes. People will read their reviews because they're crappy, so it helps them get a step up. Or, if I bash on this book, it might help raise my books. And so a lot of people will write these reviews, whether they mean them or not. So you have to go into reading reviews on a practical, level-headed perspective, willing to learn, willing to better yourself, but also willing to basically call them out on their bullshit too. If that makes sense.
I just want to add to what Didi's saying, but I think that you need to, Didi says you're not cut out to be a writer if you can't handle the negative reviews, and not everybody likes cake, which is perfect, and that's correct. But really as well, you need to be confident within yourself and know who you're writing for first, is what I would say to any writer.
Exactly.
You will have people trying to switch you up. Yeah, change who you are, change the way you write things. You need to remember who you're doing it for and why you're writing for yourself first. And if people give you negative reviews, then you take the sense from the nonsense, spot the difference between a whiner and someone who generally didn't enjoy your work and has something constructive to say. And I think just keep in mind that the negative reviews sometimes help add interest to your work, because some people might read a negative review and think, well, but this book sounds really good to me. Let me try it anyway.
Right.
You're
you
never
know what? I've
always
done
gonna
that.
get
I've read
reviews.
A book because of a 2-star review more than once.
Yeah. And people are entitled to their own opinions. I think you just got to not let it knock you, because Didi's right. You're not cut out for it. If you're going to let someone's opinion knock you, you really can't do this, because you're going to get so many knocks. If you are trying to be the best writer you can be and you're trying to elevate your career, then you will always get knocks, whether it be rejection or negative reviews. Either way. I don't know about Didi, but
there's another way I like to look at it too.
You'll always get it. Even the best writers in the world get.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, they do.
Well, I won't say the best. I'll say the most popular, the most well-known. The most well-known writers, they get 1-star reviews, but so what? It's just one person. And I think it depends on what you're getting the negative review for as well. If you're getting a negative review because the person just generally didn't resonate or click with your work, then why worry? Because as a writer, you can't crowd please. There's always going to be someone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Exactly.
So why really?
Another
worry?
way I like to look at it too is if you have one book and you bring that book to a room of, say, I don't know, 5 or 6 people, and they all finished reading that one book at the same time, every single one of those people will have a different opinion. And they will read it differently. Right. They'll resonate with different characters. They'll perceive different scenes in a different way. One person might think, this character is perfect because of this, while another person thinks, I hated that about their personality. Hated it. Yeah. So no matter what, no one book is read the same way ever. So no matter what, you're going to get different feedback from different people. But such is the beauty of creativity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I'd just say, just keep your confidence. Just keep thinking that you are a good writer if you genuinely are. And just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. And keep a tight circle too of people that do enjoy your work, because they will boost you, they will push you, they will keep it coming, and tell you to keep going when you're feeling low. Get in touch with somebody that isn't just feeling you full of hot air, that genuinely likes your stuff, and talk to them. It's pretty simple.
And also as well, they can give you
that helps me a lot.
feedback. even if you have a tight circle of people who do enjoy your work, they will be honest with you and say, well, do you know what? Because I know that Didi would probably come to me and say, do you know what? Your missus, this bit doesn't work. And I'd trust her opinion. So these people who do enjoy your work can also give you that extra strength to show you where you might need to do some extra work in your work. So it can work both ways. They won't always just fill you up with hot air and say, yeah, you're great, because that's not going to develop you if you're always told that you're great, even if you are. Sometimes you need to hear, try this or try that, or, do you know what I mean? But I think with negative reviews, you just got to take the sense from the nonsense. You're not going to please everybody. That's it, period.
Right.
Just have that in your mind. You will not please everyone, and don't expect to as well. Please yourself.
Every time I've given a book out for beta reads, I tell them, please try to hurt my feelings. Let me see if you can, because you can't.
I love that. Let me see if you can.
Let me see if you can.
Yeah, I love that. That is so stolen. That is the stolen. Let me see if you can. Yeah. But you get to a point though, Didi. You get to a point, don't you, as a writer, where you are bulletproof. You get to that point, and just by Didi's comment, you can tell she's already there. Let me see if you can hurt my feelings. You get to that point. So just keep going. That's all I'd say. Negative reviews, just keep going. You will get bulletproof.
Now, Didi, where did that bulletproof confidence come from? Like, at what point what book did you realize you needed that to have that confidence, or did you kind of start out with it?
I've
Justice
always
for
had
Belle.
that kind of
I'd
attitude
say that book.
in life in general. But Justice for Belle was, that was one of my last ones, and it is so different than some of the other things that I've written that I needed that confidence going in. But it was actually, Aggravated Momentum was the hardest book to this day for me to write. And I've written, 4 since? I don't even know the order of my books. But that book was hard because it has a lot more psychological issues. It has a lot more raunchy scenes, nasty scenes. It has more sex in it than any of my other books. It's got a lot more stuff that I had to really get out of my shell and out of my box to put it out there. And once I did, I realized, you know what? I can. It's possible. I can write whatever the hell I want. I'm capable. It's fine. I can do this. And that's when I decided, you know what? I'm going to put myself out there. So it was after I wrote that book that I started a blog. I started all my social media outlets. I started reaching out to other writers. And, I began building my author building blocks as an independent writer after I had published that book. And to this day, it's still the raunchiest book that I have.
Did you have
apart from the story you wrote for the Suspenseful Collection 2, you all know what story we're talking about?
Yes, except for our new ones. Yes, the one that we just published yesterday has a story in it that does actually top Aggravated Momentum. You're right. You're going to read our stories. Read this one.
Now, when you talk about the suspense and creating it as a writer, how do you dive deep into those characters in the thrillers? Because I relate this a lot to when people talk about actors and how certain parts they had to dig deep and they had to go to dark spaces. They had to change up their lifestyle just to get in touch with the character. But not often they talk about somebody had to write that for them. So what space was that writer in to create that character? So how do you dive?
You have the best questions. You have awesome questions. So getting into these characters, the harder characters, is actually easier than you would think. It's getting back out of them that's hard. Because you sit down for a session where you're writing a first person sociopath, a serial killer that is just the worst kind of mindset, and you're trying to, explain their emotions and explain their thought process as a first person. You get sucked in. You do. It's real. The struggle is real. You get sucked in reading a book. It's so much more impactful when you're writing it. So you really have to find an outlet. You have to find a switch, because if you can't shut it off when you get out of your writing session, that's when it's a problem. So for me,
I can shut it off. I can.
Yes, yes. And you do. I mean, when I was writing Aggravated Momentum, when I was writing the first person serial killer there, that's when I had to find that switch, and I had to teach myself how to shut it off. And I was in a weird place. I got depressed a little. I mean, I didn't want to talk to people. My health kind of took a fall, because it really, you get sucked into that mindset, and it's hard. But I learned that switch. I had to teach myself that switch. So when you put it away, you have to completely put it away. I had a process where I would listen to Disney princess music, and I would watch a cartoon after, or just something really funny,
just to get
really
out
uplifting. Yes, I would have to make sure and go outside and get sunshine after a writing session, and just find little quirks and little things that would brighten your spirits directly after a writing session, or else it's hard to get out of that place. But once you find your switch, and once you can get in and out of it, you can write anything. Anything.
This is where we differ again. I don't need a switch. It doesn't
even matter. Yes. Yeah.
I don't need a switch. I can get in it and get out of it easily. Didi might need a switch for me. I can get in, get out. I just switch it off. For me, it's just being there in the moment. You just mindset, and then that's it. Just think about the person. How would they think? How would they feel? That's it. Just get out of it. Yeah.
It is so nice to be able to get in. It took me a long time to find that switch, but once you do, you're golden. You can write anything you want whenever you want. Yes, and it doesn't affect
I think research does help as well, though. Research on certain behaviors can help strengthen.
Yes.
Right?
It does. It makes a really big difference. Writing first person sociopaths is impactful. It is hard. But now I could jump on the computer and write about a sociopath all day and then be perfectly fine. It doesn't make any difference at all. But it took a while to get there.
Yeah. I'd say that, pretty much.
Now, so you guys were on WordPress. You read each other's work. Mm-hmm. Kim, you reached out. Didi, you responded. When was the moment where you realized it was a creative connection here and you guys wanted to create work together?
The first story we wrote, I think. First? The first story we did. The first attempt at it.
Do you remember the first story?
Yeah.
Do you know what it do you remember?
Yeah, exactly, of course I remember the first story. Yeah, the first time we actually tried to
We've written so many.
Yeah, the first one, I think. Yeah, because we had it started off with
one of my favorites.
Yeah, our followers chose a writing prompt for us to start with, and it was the first time I killed a man. So that particular story there is in the first anthology. That was probably the moment for me that I thought, okay, yeah, I can work with her, because we did that story pretty well, and then it just followed on from there. I think it was just like an experiment, wasn't it, Didi? It was an experiment. Once we read each other's work, we said, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. We thought, let's see if this will work. I didn't actually think that anything would come out of it. I just thought, okay, we just do it, just as a way to just practice, writing and different ideas. And because I thought it would be pretty cool, one person starts, one person ends. This could be quite interesting with the stories, and we use writing prompts. It was more of just, let's see how it goes. But I think once the first story was done for me and we got such a good response, that's when I thought, we should continue. We should keep going. It was the first one. I think if the first one hadn't done so well, or it had been a struggle, maybe I would have thought, can we really do this? Is this really going to work? But because it just flowed so well, week after week from then when we was doing the challenges, just kept going. And with that anthology, did those I was going to say songs, 8 stories,
Yes, that first story was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it was so fun.
It was because it was a serial killer. It was a female serial killer, and she's gay, and it's got a lot of girl on girl action in it. Put it that way. It's not for the faint-hearted.
It was the first girl on girl action that I ever wrote ever. So I remember you wrote the first part of it, and you sent it my way. And I remember I'm sitting at the computer. I'm like, okay, this is an awesome experiment. Whatever she sends me, I'm going to try my hardest to just keep up. That's all I cared about. I'm just going to keep up. And you sent it, and my jaw hit the floor. I'm not even kidding. I sat there. I stared at my computer like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I've never wrote this before. And I had to ponder for days and days. And then I just knocked it out and sent it back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I can keep up. This is insane. This story is insane. Yeah. And I loved it. And we had so much awesome feedback after that story.
We did.
Yep, that was the moment for me too, when I'm like, okay, I can keep up. I guess I can write G on G. I can do this. I can write whatever the hell you throw at me. I can do it.
No. I don't want, we shouldn't make people think, okay, that's the whole part of the story. She's quite a twisted character, you know. We both
she is such
did her justice. Character. Her name, was it Lisa Vanasili? Lisa? Her name's Lisa anyway. She's quite twisted, but yeah, she is pretty, she's into girls, and she's been in prison for so long. So we did her justice, and
she wouldn't
it got
confess.
Good reception.
She wouldn't tell anybody about the people she killed until a certain reporter came. And this one reporter got it out of her. Yeah. It was a great story. We were going to write more onto it and never did.
No, we didn't. We should have done though. We can still go back. Not too late. Never too late.
Good.
Never too late.
We'll have to think on it.
Yeah. But yeah.
Now, is there anyone else we can expect to see you two teaming up with, like on the next anthology? Has there anyone been trying to reach out to get on the next anthology with you two?
No, not on these anthologies. I think I would be open to it possibly, but probably not. We've never even talked about it, have we, Kim?
We haven't, but you know what? I think from what Didi's just said, I think it's cool how we've done it, because it would be quite difficult to add a third person because they're short stories. So how would that work? Or, you know, it might be a bit more complex, but I'm cool.
You know, if we ever did bring someone else in, they would have to be pretty damn good at what they do.
Yeah.
I say now you keep up with both of you.
Not just yes, exactly. And you know, not only that, but the more people you bring in, I've learned from just advertising and doing collaborations on different kind of, you know, advertising groups. It's hard when the more people you get in, the more opinions are, you know, thrown into the mix, and people disagree on certain things. And so finding a happy place professionally is a lot harder than you would think. And me and Kim have a way of just meshing, not only, you know, creatively, but also on the professional side of things. We agree on stuff. And if there's something that one of us don't agree on, the other is always open to listen and to make suggestions, and we find middle ground. We've never had any.
We've never disagreed though. Yeah, we've never disagreed. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so I would be able to bring someone else in, even if they were the best. Exactly. Even if they were the best writer on this damn planet, they still might cause a little bit of a problem there, and I don't want to do that.
Oh yeah,
mesh very, very well.
Yeah,
I think the other concern would be you guys are established now, so you have to worry about are people wanting to join for the right reasons, or do they just want to, you know what I mean? Or they're just trying to use your platforms, you know what I mean? Because it's not like you guys it's not early on. You guys are established with these stories and this connection, so that'd be hard to find finding somebody genuine.
Yeah, I've never really thought of it that way, but
I didn't even really think of it that way.
Yeah, you've got a point. But I think for me, it's more just we gel so well. Like Didi said, we have never actually had a disagreement. We've written 17 stories together. We've published 2 books, and there's never been a disagreement at all. We are yet to have one since 2016 over this. Why mess it up or risk it And not only that, it would be difficult because they're short stories. So how would we incorporate a third person or fourth person or fifth person? I mean, if Didi wanted to do it, if she really, 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 really wanted to do it, then I'd hear her out. But it's never really crossed my mind, if I'm honest with you. It's never really crossed my mind, to be honest.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
If you wanted to bring someone in, I think it would be like a really extensive interview process, and I would probably be a bitch.
I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you at all. I wouldn't blame you, Didi.
Well, I would expect the same out of you too.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you. Like it. I think it's just worked so well. Why disturb it? And like you said, Chris, you've just highlighted something. Would they even want to join in and do a collabo for the right reason? You see what I mean? Because we're definitely going to do volume 3, and I don't plan to stop unless Didi wants to. So would they be coming for the right reason, or I don't want to? It's been cool, don't you think, Didi? It's been cool as it's been.
Exactly.
It's been.
Yes, it has. We've made it work very, very, very well. I look forward to doing another one too.
Yeah,
I really do. We haven't set a for sure plan or goal or days or anything like that, but we've touched base on some ideas, and I think we got some pretty awesome ideas.
Yeah, I think so. We should do it again. It's worked well, and I think when you find someone you can work with, considering we don't live in the same country, we're not in the same time zone, if you can do a project like this and make it work with them, you're pretty blessed. They've been put there for a reason, so just crack on with it.
Yes, I agree.
Just crack on with it.
Now, Blurred Lines. This is the second installment of Suspenseful short stories by 2 suspense authors from diverse backgrounds. Blurred Lines offers a thrill ride with 9 stories and genres across the board. From opposite sides of the Atlantic, these stories have been created. One author started the tale and the other ended it. No discussion, no pre-planning, but yet their stories are seamless. With the use of writing prompts, Kim and Didi have created tales that will tug at your heartstrings, drop your jaws, and leave you clinging to the edge of your seat. The continuation of the suspenseful anthology is just as fast-paced and engaging as the first set of tales that covers multiple genres, from gory horror, romance, crime fiction, family drama, and fantasy. There is a story for everyone. Woo! Now, so many. It's so much we got to break down with Blurred Lines. Now, so let's start with the title. For everyone listening,
right?
What does Blurred Lines? Because everyone's going to have their opinion. Everybody's going to assume, but it's always great hearing it from the writers. What does Blurred Lines mean to Kim and Didi?
There is a blur.
You want to take it, or you want me to take it?
It means there's a blur.
Blurred Lines is Where does one author stop and the other begin?
But it's funny because
where do the lines cross?
In the books, you can see because we've made it so that you can see, author 1, scene 1, author 2, scene 2. So you can actually see in the book, where it does start and where it does stop. But you'll notice that as you read through the stories, if you were to take that away, it would just completely blur. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that there's 2 writers on that particular story. I think the only reason why we put that there is so that people can see clearly, yes, one of us did one part, the other one did the other. But if you was to take it away, it'd be blurred. Where does one start? Where does one end?
Yes.
Simple.
You know what's funny is a lot of readers have told me or have asked me, what portion did you write of this story? Or, I thought it was this side. I thought you finished it. What, you started this? I did. I've met one reader that always knows what I wrote, and it just makes my heart pump to know that it's my mom.
Really?
Seriously, she's the only person. Yes, the only person. And she'll call me after every story and be like, Didi,
what story you've got to tell me? What did she think? You got to tell me, what does she think?
She loves them both, but she just knows. She just knows. It is the weirdest thing. She's the only person ever. She just knows.
Wow.
She loves both of our writing, and I think she's read all of your other books too. She's read all of yours.
Has she?
And she's clearly read. She has. She has read all of your books. I don't know if she read Havana Heat. I think Havana Heat's the only one that she hasn't read. And maybe The Red Room. I don't know for sure. I know she downloaded it, but I don't know if she's read it yet. Isn't it funny? She reads all the time.
Oh.
I know. It is so sweet. She don't write reviews because she just don't. But she does.
No, I wasn't going to ask her for one. I'm surprised.
I know. She's funny. And she keeps saying that I need to get you to send signed copies so that I can sign too. And she needs to be the first one to have a sign from both. She's so sweet. But she's the only person. She just knows.
So she knew what you wrote and she knew what you didn't write. She was able to tell the difference, or did I misunderstand? Yep. Oh, she knew. Oh, yes. She knew. Okay. She did know. Well, she's your mom at the end of the day. She's your mum, isn't she? So. Yes, exactly. Cool. Bless her heart. Bless her. Yeah, that's so
sweet. See, I found it difficult.
It really is.
Obviously, being I tried to go off of Kim because I read your other story, Kim, for the interview, for the first interview. But then reading the first story in Blurred Lines, I'm like, I thought I knew, but then I was like, no, maybe it's not. Because the thing that got me was I was trying to focus on the character's pronunciation of words, like McCormick. So when the judge said it, not to give it away, I was like, oh no, Kim had to write this because the focus is on the pronunciation. But then I'm like, no, maybe she didn't write this because the focus is on the pronunciation. So I'm so good.
All right, so tell me, who do you think, because this is quite interesting that you should say about pronunciation and characters, because Didi and I actually have got a way around this. But with the first story you read, who do you think started that story out of interest?
I'm going to say, damn, that put me on the spot. No, I'm going to say, based on that theory, and based on a little bit of what you guys said, I'm going to say Didi started it. I hope I'm right. But I don't want you guys to give it away. Is that something you guys never want to give away?
That's the matter. She did start it.
Oh, no, it's fine.
But she did. A lot of people might think it would be me because it's based in Scotland, because of the characters, but it wasn't me.
It was the characters. It was the dialogue between the characters that made me think it was you at first, going back and forth. But then based on the interview, and you talked about her detail, it's like now it's like, okay, she was so focused on. But yeah, and plus the location. I remember when we interviewed the first time, you were big on locations in your story. So Kim said this.
No, for the record, that was not me. I did not read the first story. I'm back, bitches now panic. That wasn't me. And that just shows you the level of talent, because although that story is set, the characters are from Scotland, all the accents and stuff, that wasn't me. That was Didi.
We've actually tried to challenge ourselves on, okay, I'm going to try and trick our readers and purposely start out a book that is going to trick them, basically. So I had never really wrote. That's the only thing I've written from Scotland, and I had to research names, and I had to, and I'm not a researcher either. I don't do that side of things. I'm horrible at it. I hate it. I'm a cheater. I cheat and do what I know just so I don't have to deal with that side of things. But I did, and same with our, like, she writes British American, and so the wording is different, and I am a slacker, and I always start them out, writing the way I know how to write. So I had to challenge myself to try and start stories and try and just put myself in Kim's head and how would Kim start the story and really think on it before I started. So there's a lot of stories in our collection that we've each had to do that, vice versa.
Yeah, it's more about the spelling. I kind of think I spoke to you about this before, Chris. Like, you could separate us by spelling, but we found a way around it. One story will be in British English, or one story will be, whatever the story is, we will stick to one style, whether it's UK British, spelling or USA spelling. But just because the story is set in the UK doesn't necessarily mean that I started it in that particular case. Others maybe, but with that particular one, and I think Didi should be really proud of that, because I didn't start that. That wasn't me. But she's a Scottish character. It wasn't me. Not at all.
It was hard. You know what? I think I actually got out of bed before and pulled up my computer to fix color to color. I was laying in bed. Shit, I didn't do it or realize, and you had to write it with an S instead.
Yeah.
Just randomly pull up a document to add a U in a word.
Right.
It's no biggie for readers to know who wrote what, but I think it's cool that you would think that that's me and it wasn't me.
Yeah,
I think you should be, that wasn't me at all. Doesn't matter.
Now, you two created stories. No discussion and no pre-planning. I just want to know, how'd you do that and why? Why'd you do that?
We started it as an interactive thing to kind of pull readers in to start with. So we actually would put together a list of possible topics or even just a sentence to go off of and let the readers vote. And so that's kind of what started the whole thing, and it worked out very well. We got a lot of votes right off the bat, and then people would pick which topic, and we would switch off. One of us would start it, just take that one sentence or that one topic and put whatever first came to mind and just pass it off. We kept it very simple, very cut and dry, and we tried to challenge each other, and we tried to come up with something completely out of the box, not only for our readers, but to challenge the other writer. That was kind of the goal. Yeah,
definitely.
But it worked out really well, so we just kind of kept at it.
So you two also took a different approach than some authors do when they collaborate on stories. Obviously, some authors go back and forth with chapters and things like that, go back and forth with detailed planning. So what made you two decide to take the different route in the creative process in terms of breaking down the stories into two acts, and then someone starting a story and someone finishing it?
It wasn't a conscious decision for me, I don't think. When I spoke to Didi about it, I just said it. I don't know. I don't know why did we do that. To me, when we spoke about it, we didn't think of any other way, did we? Really?
I think it was more of
short stories.
Yeah, well, it was more of just let's try this to sharpen our skill. Let's do this for the fun of writing. And we talked about it because we wanted to challenge ourselves to cover different kinds of genres too. And we do write different things. I write thrillers, she writes romance. Neither one of us was really big on, science fiction and different things like that. So I think it started more of a skill, a sharpening our skill, a practice for each other, and a challenge to kind of keep ourselves challenged, keep ourselves trying new things. So that's kind of how it started, and then it just kind of grew.
It won't be a short story as well. If you did it chapter by chapter, that would probably turn into something quite big. But with short stories, really, you can only really split it into two. Well, it depends on your definition of a short story, but our short story, it would make more sense, if you just split it in half. Chapter by chapter, we did end up with one novel. Really. Practical, I guess. It was a practical decision more than anything, because it was going to be short stories. Because remember, this was for our blog. Our initial intention was never to publish them. It was just an interactive thing to do on our blog.
Really?
It was like, a challenge. It was having a writing buddy. It was just sharpening our skills, like Didi has said. And it turned out that it worked so well. That's when we decided to publish them.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Had a piece of work out here that originally wasn't going to be out here for, you know what I mean? That's crazy. That's so crazy looking back at it now.
I think it was just.
No, I think our feedback from our readers played a big part on publishing.
Yeah, yeah.
Had a lot of really positive feedback, and a lot of people ask, when are you going to publish these?
Yeah.
When can I get this on paperback? I love this story. Yeah. When can I read this, in an actual book? And so I think a lot of it came more from the interaction from our readers. Yeah. And one day we just said, you know what? Why not?
Why not?
They're right. Why don't we? Let's just do it.
Why not? Yeah. It was a blogging challenge. We just teamed up as buddies. That's it. Buddies that, write in the same thriller suspense genre, and that's it. We didn't intend to be 17 stories and 2 books deep into this. It just happened. So it was going to happen.
Right. Now, how much thought went into the placement of the stories in terms of which one went first in the book and which one went, the order of them? Because it started off with, I'm back, bitches, now panic. And it was like, once I read that story, I was like, damn, that's one way to start off that's one way to start off an anthology. And I thought about it. I thought about, like, when they talk about music and people put out albums and the placement and, like, the songs tell a story and the songs are specifically placed in the order they are because of the emotion you'll get from them. So was this intentional to have, obviously, that story first, and to knowing the reaction the reader was going to have to it?
You take that, Didi. You take that. You answered that because she switched it up. She switched it up, so you take it.
Oh, she switched it, really?
Yeah, she switched it up. That one was always first, but she switched up the others. Yeah, you take it,
really?
Yes, I think we did that in the first one too, actually, because we have such a wide range of different stories that you want it to be mixed. You don't want to read just a whole bunch of crime fiction. It's so many in a row that you're stuck in that crime fiction state of mind, that to get thrown into something totally, completely polar opposite, that it kind of, something like that when I'm reading a book is a switch off for me. So, you want your readers to have the kind of experience that you enjoy as a reader. So mixing them up, you want it to be well-rounded. You want to give the variety that it has the potential of having. You want to really bring that to light. So for me, I think it's a big deal. I think it's really important. And I think you should always start out with the shocking books that really draw people in. And then switch it up on purpose to give them. Wait till you read Chainsaw Ridge. Keep going. That was the bigger shocker. I was actually on the fence. Should we put that one first? Because it is a very intense story. But no, I think it's a big deal to switch it around.
Yeah. Take them on a ride, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Now, for both of you, which one in Blurred Lines, which story was your favorite to write?
Chainsaw Ridge, I'd say. Chainsaw Ridge for me, and Wishful Thinking. I love them both.
Wishful Thinking, that's what I was going to say. Wishful Thinking was my favorite.
Yeah, Wishful Thinking and Chainsaw Ridge.
We're definitely going to have to keep on that one and add more to it.
Yeah.
The most intense ones is both of our favorites.
Yeah, and that's about my next question. Are any of these stories you're thinking about expanding them into, obviously, novellas or a novel?
Yes.
Really?
Definitely Wishful Thinking, yeah. I think we could do more with Wishful Thinking.
Me too.
And maybe, I don't know, let's see, what else we got there? Because we extended the first one, didn't we?
We did.
The second one's a romance.
More scenes, bonus stories.
Yeah, I just think Wishful Thinking for me, that would be the main one that I'd like to go back to. And maybe Murder by Mistake. I think that one can definitely be extended as well, a little bit later in the anthology.
I think so too.
Those two.
Those were the last ones we wrote too.
Yeah, the most recent.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why we want to extend, because we're still kind of in that state of mind.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think it's my favorite to write.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Everything I've ever wrote, as I'm writing it, it's the best book I've ever written.
Yeah.
And then you move on.
You write something else.
And as you write it, oh my God, this book is genius. I've never wrote anything like this. But then, you just keep it. It's like a cycle. No matter what you're writing is the best.
Yep.
Now the cover.
I hear that.
The cover obviously is very creative.
Beautiful. It is beautiful.
It definitely is. Yeah. What was the thought process behind it? The design.
The designer. She looked at the first one.
You found
the The designer that we had, she's really, really talented. Shout out to Helena Covers as well. That's her name. She kind of looked at the first one, and I sort of gave her a few ideas of what we would like. I said, me and Didi, we basically want a cover that is, feminine, stunning, nice. We wanted that kind of sexy feel to it as well, kind of. I did say that, I will be honest. So she looked at the first one and she came up with that. And I think all we really did was twerked around with the wording and the effects, because at first we were going to have a picture of both of us blurred out on it. And when we looked at it, we weren't too happy about that, where we did it. We weren't too keen on that one when the picture was on it of us together and it was blurred out. So we took it, we had a really good creative idea, but it didn't look that good. So we took it off and she kind of just went with it. She created it for us and we loved it. Well, I certainly did as soon as I saw it. And I thought, yes, Didi will like this. So then I sent it over to Didi for her approval. And she was like, yeah, Kim, I love it. And that's it. We had a really good designer.
Yes. It's nice to be so agreeable.
Right.
We on a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's nice to write with somebody that you have the same kind of opinions and the same outlook. I mean, we could be in a different circumstance and not agree on them, but we were very blessed to find such an awesome creator for our book cover.
Yeah.
And to agree as well as we did.
Because it's like you could just give her a vision and she's done that before with other covers for me. You give her a vision and she's able to put it together. I like to just tell the designer what I want and show me what you can do, basically. That's it.
Now, you guys' first anthology book was released in 2017. Obviously, this new one was released yesterday, the 22nd. How much growth have you seen within each other in terms of from the first project to now? How much easier was it now having that relationship and that connection grown so much over the years?
I'll answer this one if you don't mind, Didi.
That's tough.
It's easy for me to answer, I think. With that one, it's funny because if you look at the stories in the second anthology, a lot of them are a lot more supernatural or metaphysical. And I think it's because outside of writing, it's something that me and Didi both enjoy as people as well, like strange things, the unknown, all that woo-woo stuff, kind of what people might call it. And I think that as we've grown as people and individuals, it's reflected in the stories that we've written. Because you've got like wishful thinking, you've got the clairvoyant one with Murder by Mistake.
Well said. That was exactly what I was going to explain.
As we've had our own personal growth as people, spiritually, things that we like, it's just kind of reflected in the stories, because the first set of stories, I think the first, 3 or 4, we wrote a couple of years ago, and we kind of finished it off between the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So that anthology was written in 2 parts. It was never done all in one go. And so you can see the difference in the stories, even though we've Didi's switched things up a bit so that you're on a bit more of a ride. So it's not all crime fiction and it's not all, metaphysical stuff. It's all kind of like, up and down, go on a ride. If you were to separate it, you could see that one set is kind of like this theme and another set is like this theme. And that's because they were written at 2 different times, in 2 different stages of our life. So that's the way I'd answer that. Would you add to that, Didi? What would you say?
Yes, very, very well said. We've both grown and changed a lot as people, as individuals. So it's made a huge impact on our writing, both apart and together. I instantly thought of a quote, and I wish I could tell you exactly who said it, but I can't off the top of my head. But it said, the woman I was yesterday introduced me to who I am today. I can't wait to meet the woman I will be tomorrow. It is so pretty, huh? I wish I could know who said it. I just can't. But as soon as you asked that question, that instantly popped into mind, because I think it rings true for both of us. individually. And together, it's worked perfectly because we've both been through so much with our own lives and with our writing that together we've been able to, work out the kinks in our writing apart and together. So, growing separately as individuals has made a huge impact on our writing together over time.
And I'm glad it happened. I'm actually personally pretty happy that we took that break, because I think if we had knocked out all 9 stories back in probably 2017 or 18, when we started Blurred Lines originally, we probably would have something very, very different than what you've got today. I think it's better because we had to separate and work on separate things. We had to continue and do stuff in our lives, and then we came back to it. I'm glad that we took that slight little break, because I think our stories are a lot better, stronger, and a lot more versatile as well. A lot more versatile, because this anthology is very different to the first one. Very, very different. If anybody reads all 17, you'll see. It's very different. It's still shocking.
And our ideas for the third is different too.
Yeah, exactly. It's different. So that's what's happened. I think our personal growth as people really reflected, and our personal interests as well. If that makes sense.
Read 100%.
Right. And can you tell people, for everybody listening, everybody's going to listen to this interview, why they need blurred lines in their life? Because they do. I'm telling them they do. But can you guys tell them why they need to pick up blurred lines and need to check out these stories?
Because it's going to be the best set of short stories that you're going to read, within in a minute.
Exactly.
Put it that way. Yeah, it's going to be the best thing you're going to read in a minute. So just pick it up.
If you need a shock, if you need to get out of your head, if you need something different and unique that will just totally be different than anything you've ever read, that is why you need it in your life.
Yeah. And just try something different. Just try something different. Just imagine what it would be like to have 2 different people write one story, but yet the stories seem as though they've been written by one person. I mean, as a reader, Chris, what do you think? Do you think
I think, it's amazing. It's literally amazing. You can't tell. It's not choppy where you can tell that it's 2 writers. Yeah. Literally, if you didn't tell me, you would think it was one writer.
Yeah. And I think that people should know as well that we don't edit what the other one's written. We don't say, no, you should change that because I want to write this, or it would work better. We've never done that, and we wouldn't ever plan to. Whatever lands in our inbox, whatever I get from Didi, I work with. I don't go back to her and say, I don't like that. There's one story that she sent me that took me a long time to write. I'm talking well over a year. And that is because, it was very, very different. It's actually a life gone. So I'll give that away. Like, Didi is all for one on a life gone. And it took me a long time. And it was because I needed to grow. I needed to think a bit. I needed to decide what to do. But so readers know, we don't ever say, don't write that. When she sent me that story, I could have easily said to her, do you know what, Didi, I'm not feeling this, or I don't think I can write this, but I didn't. I just rested on it and I just completed it. So,
Yep. You know what's funny is as you're writing the start of a story, you have where you would take it in mind.
Yeah.
You think, I'm gonna drop little hints here and there and see if she picks that up and finishes it the way that I'm picturing it to go. And then you get back the second half and it is totally different and better. Like, so better. I know I've sent you stories that I have just tried so hard to stump you. I tried.
Really? Oh my God.
Yes, I'm going to make this so hard. I'm going to stump you.
You did with a life gone.
Yeah, and I never
well over a year. Well over a year. That was the story that stumped me. But every other story she sent me, I've been
accomplished.
Able to. Yeah, it was difficult. It's one of the most difficult things for me to write. When I first got it, I couldn't. But then when I got back into it, when we had our break and we came back together, I was able to knock it out. So, but yeah, but
another thing too is
go on. No, go on. What were you going to say?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I don't write the stories to stump you. I just write them. Just give them these.
I try, and I try to shock you.
Now
too.
I know you do shock me. You do.
No, you know.
You do shock me. You do shock me, but you don't stop me.
Yes,
like, you do shock me. You do. That you do.
There has been ones that I have finished on purpose, like totally off base, just to kind of see, what kind of reaction. You know what? It's kind of funny. What was the one called? What was the title? It's in our first set. It was about the gangster that took off with all of the money.
Oh, Juan, yeah.
Trying to get away with the money. And I
remember.
Is that what it was called?
No.
It was one of my favorite endings.
It's called the end of the tunnel was the only way out.
We killed him off like a cannibal.
Yeah, the entrance to the tunnel and his way out.
Is the only way out. That's it. The entrance to the tunnel is the only way out. Yeah. That one was
so Kim had
different.
me this story. It was different and it was fun. I did that ending as twisty as I possibly could. Like, I thought on it for days. Like, how can I twist this into something so completely opposite and morbid just to get, a reaction?
But I liked
so we
it
took
though,
this character
it was
that you
shocking.
had running.
It was shocking.
I know. I
loved
remember when we published it on our blogs, and my mom called me on that one. She called me and she's like, "Are you seriously writing about a cannibal? That was your half. Like, why did you like?" Yep, that was one of the funnest ones to finish because it was so different.
Oh,
It was a lot of fun. I loved that one.
Yeah, it's cool. It's been cool. Out of 17 stories, there's been a lot of fun times. It's been good. It's helped me to grow as a writer, to try different things, to write in different areas. Like, I would never write a paranormal story or a supernatural story. That's not something that I would naturally float towards, but it's something that I've tried my hand at. So yeah, it's been a good experience.
And I think that's the beauty in it as well. That obviously from reading Kim, reading your book Stranger in France, to see you dive into different genres, that's
Have you
amazing.
read that as well?
Yeah, and the same thing for Didi. Seeing you dive into different genres, I think that's a good something positive for your current fans and obviously getting new readers. Because seeing your style, like that psychological, the thrillers, I'm a fan. That's why I got caught up in Justice for Belle. You know what I mean? Once I saw that cover, I was like, oh, I'm getting that. so I was like, that's why I got caught up. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm supposed to read the anthology, but this is crazy. Like, so you know what I mean? So I think that's
wow. Well, thank you for reading our books. I had no idea that you're a
the covers alone. Like, people say don't judge a book by its cover, but come on. These covers, right? I was like, damn, what is this? I was like, don't put no lock on the door and not expect me to get it. Like, you guys mentioned
it. Thank you for reading your book.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, you guys mentioned it. So, you mentioned the third one. You guys are working on the third one. So, what? Obviously, elaborate on that a little bit, and then tell us all what else can we expect from you two in the future.
This one we've talked minimally about, but we have come to an agreement that we want to do kind of like a powerhouse woman's book. Like, we want to have a lot of, it's for everybody. It's for anybody to read, but we want to have a lot of really strong female protagonists. We kind of want to go, all different genres, how we've been doing, all different mix-ups, how we've been doing, but we really want to bring out the empowerment in women protagonists in the next series. It's kind of what we talked about, but we haven't really set any for sure plan.
I would love to do that. I think we spoke about it a few times. I think that'd be a good idea. Definitely. I would. Yeah, I would.
And just tell everybody where they can check out you guys' blogs, your work, your websites, everything, how they can get in contact with you guys and get your books.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Check us out everywhere. Search both of our names in every outlet and you will find us.
Yeah, Amazon. So they're on Amazon at the moment. So they're on Kindle Unlimited to read as well if you're a member of that. But head to Amazon. You'll find us there. You can find me at kimknightauthor.com, at kimknightauthor UK on Facebook, Twitter. So yeah, BookBub. Just put my name into BookBub and I'll come up as well. Same for Didi. Didi's on the same places.
All right, this has
you gonna
been
give your
the
social
fiction.
media, Didi?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say, Didi, you need to come on, girl.
Didi, plug it. Didi, put the social medias out here.
Come on. Where can people get you
I'm trying to like hurry and pull it up and try and find them. But yeah, no, all of those same places. I'm on Amazon, Facebook, WordPress. I'm on Instagram, but I really suck at Instagram. I'm horrible at it. I need to do better and be on there more often, but I am there. Yes. And Twitter, all the different social media outlets. And it's easy to find. My name's unique. You will not find another Didi Oviatt, so you don't have to worry about mixing me up with anybody.
Yeah, and definitely check out the WordPress. Check out your website. It's definitely in your blogs and everything like that. It stands out. You know what I mean? So let's not forget the blog.
Yes, exactly.
The WordPress.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
All right, this has been the Fiction Addiction Podcast, and this has been Didi Oviatt and Kim Knight. Thank you both for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Fiction Addiction Podcast. Make sure you visit fictionaddictionpodcast.com for links on everything we talked about today, as well as awesome resources, additional tips, and fiction addiction merchandise.